I spent 15 years recruiting, which meant I spent a lot of time interviewing candidates. I was a part of every single interview stage: pre-screens, hiring manager interviews, peer interviews, final interview stages, assessment stages, it all. And I learned a lot from conducting those. I did the math one year, over 10,000 interviews that I was part of. Lessons that I want to let you in on. So stay tuned. My name is Sarah Curto, and I'm a certified career and leadership coach who helps people like you find their dream jobs where they can work less, make more money, and finally feel happy and fulfilled doing work that they love. And also, speaking of work you love, welcome to the Find Work You Love YouTube channel. I come here every week and drop a new training, so make sure you hit that subscribe and notification button so that you don't miss a single one. Thank you also just for your support. It's just been, this channel has grown so much this year, and I am just so appreciative that you have been here with me. So thank you. Okay, anyway, lessons. As someone who was such a nervous interviewer, let me tell you, sweating, shaking hands, shaking legs, rambling on and on and on, over analyzing every single thing. It was actually a breath of fresh air to be on the other side of the table. Not because then I was in control, but because it allowed me the behind the scene glimpses on what really matters to interviewers when hiring people. When I reflect on what I learned over those 15 years, there were really 5 things that I really want to make sure you know, especially if you are a nervous interviewer yourself, because it's going to really help peel back to really understand what's going on, okay? So here are the 5 things, the 5 lessons that I learned. Lesson number 1 is I hired people, not perfect interview answers. The reason why this is such a valuable lesson is, I don't know about you, but I know I spent hours trying to come up with the absolute perfect interview answer. And then after every interview, I would pick apart my answers to see how could I perfect them? What was I doing wrong? How was I doing it imperfectly? The problem was now when I was on the other side of the table, I could see the people who were really trying for those perfect answers, and they were in their heads. They were not present. They were not able to create chemistry with me or the hiring manager or whoever else I was interviewing with because they were so focused on delivering that perfect interview answer. But here's the thing, we're not hiring that perfect answer. We're hiring a person to do a job. So it's better to be more present and focused on building the relationship with the interviewers than trying to remember that perfect interview answer that you wrote down. So I want you to remember this. It's most important to be present in the interview than to give and deliver that perfect interview answer. Okay, lesson number 2. More people were nervous in an interview than not nervous in an interview. I know for me, this was mind opening because I assumed that I was the only one who was really nervous. But now being an interviewer, I saw that most people were nervous interviewing in some way, shape, or form. They were rambling themselves. They had the little bit of a shaky hands or the little shake in their voice. They were the ones who you could see were had the little bit of sweat, were struggling to figure it out. And as an interviewer who was super nervous, I always tried to put them at ease because I saw that this was the common denominator. Most people were really nervous. And so, which means I hired a ton of really nervous interviewers. So you do not have to try and hide your nerves to get the job. You can be nervous and be great in interviews. It was a lesson that I really absorbed myself and made my goal because I never fully got rid of my nerves, but I was really good at interviews. So this is a lesson. I really hoped that you are not alone in your nerves. And in fact, the person who interviews before you and after you, they were probably nervous too. So you're not standing out as this nervous, unprepared freak, which is what we normally are thinking, even though, like, even as I'm saying it, it's silly. It's silly. Okay, lesson number 3. Rose-colored glasses are real. So, what do I mean by that? If an interviewer is wearing rose colored glasses, everything you say has a nice glowy tint on it, which is why networking, knowing someone is really helpful because then they're obviously wearing the rose colored glasses because they know you, but the chemistry piece, the whole coming back to lesson number 1, where we're focusing on building relationships with the person interviewing us versus the perfect interview answer. If you build chemistry immediately, they put these rose colored glasses on, and it allows you to not be perfect. Not be perfect. Again, that lesson 1 is just so important, but not be perfect in the interview because they're seeing this wonderfulness about you. So focus on building that chemistry from the get-go in the interview, but also focus on trying to incorporate more networking into your job search strategy. Number 1, because it opens up so many more doors. But number 2, once you get into the interview, it also is very helpful. Oh, and number 3, also with this, you can also have a very engaging cover letter that showcases your personality off, where they are so excited to meet with you. It means they're walking in that room with their rose-colored glasses on. If you want to learn how to write an engaging cover letter, go up there. Okay. Lesson number 4. Common answers equal eye rolls and groans of, oh, not another one. I'm talking about using perfectionist or public speaking or I'm a hard worker. Those are super common weakness questions. I want you to now you can use those. It's okay to use those, but they have to be authentic and true to you. So how can you authentically answer questions in a way that's can be vulnerable for those weakness style questions, really highlights and showcases your strengths and what you bring to the table? How can you not be like everyone else? Because don't forget, they are conducting interviews. In a pre-screen, they might be conducting 10 to 15. In a regular one, 5 to 10, 3 to 5, it depends. But you want to stand out as you. You want to get you hired, not some like version of you you've created for this interview, because then that version of you has to show up for the job. So don't use a common vanilla answer. It also means don't get ChatGPT to write the stories for you. They can maybe start if you're really struggling to help you ensure that you have some background action result. But at the end of the day, we want you saying it, because back to like perfect answers, they're not going to get you the job. You are going to get the job. Okay. Lesson number 5. This gets us to the end of the interview. Ask insightful questions. They are so exciting. Hiring managers and recruiters and the boss's boss, all of them, they love, like, they would be buzzing leaving an interview when the candidate asked insightful questions about them, about the job, about the company. So ask away. Leave them wanting more. Leave them like knowing that you can bring so much and that you can spark amazing conversation. It really excites them, and it feels good at the end of it to end on that high note that you have control over. So to recap, my 5 lessons from 10,000 interviews. Number 1, I hired people, not perfect answers. Number 2, more people were nervous than not. Number 3, rose-colored glasses are real. Number 4, common answers, just elicit eye rolls or groans. And number 5, insightful questions are exciting. So let me know what lesson really resonated with you and what one was maybe surprising to you. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss my next week's training. See you then. Bye. If you liked this video, then I invite you to join me in the Find Your Dream Job program, where you work less, make more money, and finally feel fulfilled doing work that you love. Find out more at www.sarahcurto.ca/CYLA. See you there.